What's going on? And we're live, or we're recording. My name is Ugo Opera, PA licensed real estate agent and investor, reporting to you live. Um, Beautiful Saturday. Beautiful Saturday. And this video is actually a remake. And the reason it's a remake is because the audio quality of the last video was horrible. I believe I had my windows cracked, maybe just a smidge, and that noise was causing horrible. For me, I was on a freeway driving back from Vineland, New Jersey, into Philadelphia, and that drive is about an hour long. So, um, I wasn't going 10 miles an hour. I was going like 50 miles an hour. So that wind was everywhere and noisy and everywhere, and just didn't make for the most ideal recording situations. But anyways, in this video, this re-record, I really just want to get out here and talk about the NACA workshop that they just had, that the Philadelphia office just had in Vineland, New Jersey. And just full disclosure, right? Full disclosure, full 100% disclosure. I do not work for NACA. I do not get paid by NACA, and I am not a NACA realtor, right? In the terms of how NACA classifies agents or real estate agents, I would be what's considered an outside agent, right? There are three types of agents that NACA has. There's a NACA in-house agent, which is a realtor that does work for NACA. There's a NACA referral agent, which is a realtor that is on like NACA's call list, and whenever a member goes through the NACA mortgage and gets qualified but doesn't have a realtor or hasn't picked a realtor to work with, they get assigned one of NACA's referral agents, right? And then there's number three, which is me. I'm what's called an outside agent. I don't work for NACA. I am not on NACA's call list. I bring my own clients. I walk them through the program, and then when they're ready, we hit the streets and we start looking for property. So I am not a NACA agent, not a NACA realtor. I don't work for NACA. All I am is someone that sees a ridiculous opportunity, and I don't know how long it's going to last. NACA's been around for maybe 25, 6, 7 years now, 27 years, 26 to 27 years now. I don't know if they're going to continue, if they're going to be around for another 26, 27, but I really hope that they are. I really hope that they are. You know what I mean? Because it's a ridiculously insane, I can't believe it's not butter type of deal that they're providing for clients, for members, for people. No down payment, no closing costs, no PMI, ability to buy down the interest rates, ability to rolling renovations into your mortgage. They don't care about your credit score. They only care about how you're managing your finances. And they let you buy a single family, condo, twin, row, multifamily, up to 4 units, mixed use, commercial space, so long as there's more 50% of the property is residential. I mean, it's just there, and it's 100% financing. There's so many things that they're giving you. It's just like, whoa, like that's crazy, like ridiculously crazy. And my whole thing is I don't understand how people aren't running, flocking, knocking the doors down to take advantage of this program. It makes absolutely no sense. When I see other home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, because they leave so much money on the table, when I see them go and use another program, it blows my mind. Now, some people have their reasons for going to other programs. I have a client that started out with NACA first and then ended up actually buying with another, not using NACA to buy his property. And I understand how he did it. That's a different story. But for everyone else that's not in that situation, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So anyways, full disclosure, I don't get paid by NACA. I'm not saying this because they're paying me. I'm not saying this to kiss ass. I'm saying this because this is legit what the move is, or what the move needs to be. So today at the workshop, right, the very first step with NACA is you have to attend their workshop, right? You have to attend the workshop. That's the very first thing you have to do. So this Saturday, I had 3 clients that I recommended, that I said, hey, we got to go. I think it's best for you to go through the NACA program, right? And I always recommend, well, not I don't always recommend, because sometimes it's not what's best for them. I'll sit down, we have a consultation, quick 30-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute chat. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes it's never shorter. And I just say, hey, I definitely think you should check it out. Let's check this out. If it's for you, then you'll know. But this is the way I think this you should go. And 90% of the time, 95% of the time, when someone's coming to me as a buyer, as a first-time buyer, and they want to buy it in a specific price range, I'm like, boom, here's where we got to go, and we take it from there. So at this workshop, I had 3 people that I had sent over there. So I was over there to show support to my 3 clients, right, and also to volunteer for NACA. Now, as a real estate agent and as an outside real estate agent, NACA keeps a very tight leash on you in regards to what it is that you can do to help contribute. So I just did whatever I could that they allowed me to do, right? Because they don't want someone in there. I don't know. They don't like realtors that aren't affiliated with them there. And if they're there, they got to sit in like a certain section, and they're only allowed to do, these type of volunteer. Anyways, whatever. I respect it, Mac. I'm gonna play by your game. But so I was there with my 3 clients, and I was also there volunteering. I always volunteer if I know that I got clients that are gonna be there. So that's what I did. And it went well. It went well. There, big shout out to what's called. It was the establishment that hosted the event was a ministry. They were called Because We Love You Ministry in Vineland, New Jersey. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you for allowing NACA to do what they did at your church. However, there are some roadblocks that they ran into early on, right from the start. This projector wasn't working, the screen wasn't working, the microphone wasn't working. It was a nice little hot day. The heat, the AC unit wasn't working, so it was funky. It was very funky. But big shout out to the mortgage counselors from NACA that were there. They did what they had to do, and they got everything taken care of, and they put on. You know what I mean? So the show must go on. So I support those counselors that were there. So I just want to drop 3 gems for those of you not familiar with NACA. 3 things that kept coming up that a lot of people kept asking at that particular workshop, and I just want to share what those 3 gems are. Gem number 1 is you can go through the NACA mortgage if you have a property. And there's 2 things that needs to happen for in order for it to do that. In order for you to actually go through NACA successfully if you own a property. The number one thing you have to do is option number 1 is you sell the property. You find an agent like me, you put it on the market, you get an offer, and you're rolling, right? But in order for that to work, you have to start going through the process. Will still provide counseling. NACA will still provide counseling, let you go through everything. They just want to prove you. They want to prove you to actually get the mortgage, but they'll counsel you. They'll help you get all your paperwork together. They'll help you clean up the file. They'll make it very, very nice, which I think is a fantastic thing to do. They'll set you up to succeed, right? And once you're set up to succeed, all you got to do is get the house on the market, preferably get it under contract, and you're rolling. Now you're good to go. You go back to NACA and say, hey, my house is on the market. Your realtor can print out the trend MLS sheet and provide the listing contract, and then they'll see it, and then that way you're good to go. And then from that point, it's really, really a timing thing, because now you want to try and get someone a contract on your property, and time it so that you have settlement on your other property before you have settlement on the property that you're going through with NACA. Because 9 times out of 10, your property is going to sell before your NACA property, before you settle on the house that you're buying with NACA, right? So what that means is, like, let's say I'm selling house A and I'm going to go buy house B with NACA, right? You would partner with me, and we would, based on the market, the condition of it, whatever. If it's a house that's completely renovated, or it looks in really good shape, and it's in a nice area, and we can sell it, how much you want to make off the property isn't putting a price ridiculously high or above what the market is going to allow. Decent shape, priced decently, and it shows well. That thing's going to fly. It's going to fly off the market right now in Philadelphia's market, Delaware County, Montgomery, Chester, the whole tri-state area. It's a very hot market right now. If you have a decent property that shows well and it has a decent price, it's going to sell. So if you have a property and you're trying to go through the NACA mortgage, strategically partner with your realtor, make sure you guys are timing when you put the house on the market so you can get an offer, have that house sold, and while on your end you're still looking for your other property that you're buying through NACA, get that under contract so that you kind of time the settlement of your house now with the settlement of the house that you're buying into. That's option number one. Option number two, right? And I've never tried this. This is just a logical thing that I'm thinking in my head should absolutely work. Option number two, and is only if there's no mortgage on the property. If there's no mortgage on the property, then you can sell that property to an entity that you control or to an entity of someone that you trust, right? So let's say, for example, my name is Ugo. Maybe I start a company called, Video in the Car LLC or something. I don't know. Let's say Black Jacket Realty or something like that is the name of the company I start. Black Jacket, and I sell my house to Black Jacket Realty. I do a name transfer on it. So now it doesn't say that I own the property. The property on the deed, on the title, and now it says that Black Jacket Realty owns the company. So now, in the eyes of any institution, it says that I don't own a property. My company, which is a separate entity, owns a company, right? So now you can slide back in and take it from there, right? That's a loophole as well. Another loophole that I just thought about, that I forgot to mention, not just thought about, is that if you inherit property, NACA doesn't poo-poo on that. NACA doesn't frown upon that. If it's inherited property, you just have to have the documentation to prove that it's inherited and not something that you purchased. And if you have inherited property, I think that's a different story. Not too sure how that works out, but I think you're going to be in good shape if you have an inherited property and you have documentation that it's an inherited property. So those are my two options. I guess three now if you had that third one. Three options for how you can still buy a property with NACA if you already own a property. Next question that kept coming up was in regards to renovations. How does renovations work with the NACA mortgage? The way that renovations work with the NACA mortgage is that you can roll you can roll renovations into your mortgage, your single mortgage, right? And the way it works is that you cannot the purchase price plus the renovations equals the loan amount, right? Loan amount cannot be more than the 110% of the appraised value of the property. So what does that mean? Translation, let's say you're buying a house for 100,000 and you want to do a new kitchen, you want to renovate the kitchen in that property, and you get a quote for a contractor and they say, look, it's going to take us 10 grand to renovate the kitchen, whatever, how you want it done. If the property appraises for 100 grand, you can do it, right? Because 10%, 110% is going to turn 100 grand into 110. Because your renovation is only 10 grand, you can roll it into the mortgage and be at that 110%. So you're good to go. Another situation, the property appraises for $100,000. You're under contract for $90,000. That, I think, is a better situation, because at 110%, what they don't tell you is that you're going to have what's called a negative mortgage, right? If the house is only worth 110,000, I don't care if you put a gold kitchen in that thing. I don't care if you have diamonds on your floor. If it's 100,000, it's in a neighborhood where it's only worth 100,000. There's not much you can do in renovations to bring it up. So 9 times out of 10, you're most likely going to have what's called a negative mortgage, where you owe more on the property than what it's worth, because now in that 110 price range, you can't go and sell it for 110 because now the value was at 100. So be mindful of that. The value's at 100 now, so you can't go and resell it. Now I know that the argument's going to be, oh well, I'm redoing the kitchen, it should be worth blah blah blah. Question mark. That's a big question mark, right? You know what I mean? Because if the house is appraising for 100,000 and the only thing that needed to be done was the kitchen, there shouldn't be that big of a difference on the appraisal, right? It shouldn't be that big of a difference. But that is a good argument, though, that, well, now that we've renovated the kitchen, is there a likelihood that more value can be added to the property? That's a question mark. That's up for discussion. So it is what it is on that one. Now, the way that those renovations work is that it's all on a draw basis. It's a draw. So you do the work first. NACA is going to send out. Then you let NACA know that phase one is, they do it in phases. So phase one, phase two, phase three. You do phase one, and then once it's completed, you let NACA know. NACA will send an inspector to inspect the work. If the work passes inspection, then NACA is going to cut a check to your contractor for phase one, and you keep rinsing and repeating that process until you're 100% done. And that is what it is. So yeah, so that's that. And then the last and final question that kept coming up. Um, which one do I want to pull out? Because there's a couple more. I'm trying to think which one was the one that kept coming up the most. All right, we'll talk about targeted areas and versus targeted members, right? So with NACA, the most that you can do as far as the most that you can do as far as NACA allows you to do 10% of rate buy down. 10%, you can get 10% assist from your seller, right? If they're so nice and kind about doing that. You can get 10% from your assist from the seller. Now in this market, I do not believe that there's a seller willing to give you 10%. 10%, let's say you're buying a house for $100,000. 10% would be the seller giving you $10,000 towards your purchase. Why would a seller do that? Is the $1,000,000 question. I guess it's a 10,000 question now on this one. So what happens with targeted areas is that it's two things. So there's a cap right now is 10% on the sales assist, and then also on the purchase price, there's a cap on the purchase price. So in Philadelphia, the cap that you can buy a single family is $235. So you can't buy a house in Philadelphia or a condo or whatever you want to buy unless it's a multi-family. Then there's different price ranges depending on the number of units. But for single family or anything that classifies in that range, you cannot go past 235. So we got 10% cap on the seller's assist, 235 cap on the price point. If you are a targeted member, as to say your income is 80% is less than 80% of the median income based on a census based on what they believe is in that area, then you are a targeted member, and you can buy. There's no cap on your how much assist you can get or how much assist you can buy down, and then there's also no cap to your purchase price. So long as it's affordable in your PITI, then you're fine. But the catch to this is, if your income is less than 80% of the median income, you're probably not going to be able to afford, past that 285 or 235 to begin with, right? You know what I mean? So that's that duality where I'm not too sure what NAC is thinking about doing. But that's it. That's how it is. And then on the flip side, right? Let's say you're not a targeted member, but you're buying in a targeted area, like I did. If you're buying in a targeted area, the NACA will also remove the price cap, and then will also remove the how much assist you can get. The cap on that is not 10%. It can be more. You can go, maybe if let's say seller gave you 6% assist, and you also wanted to buy the interest rate down by 6%. Normally you're only capped at 10, so you'd have to stop at you can only buy 4. But with NACA, but if you're buying in a targeted area, or if you're a targeted member, you can go up to 12, 13, 14, 15. You can just keep buying keep buying the interest rate down until it's 0.0 something. You know what I mean? And I leverage that, and that's why my on the property that I bought with NACA, my interest rate is 0.625. I'm gonna say it one more time because I love saying it. 0.625 on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Ridiculous, conventional mortgage. I don't pay PMI. Absolutely ridiculous. I love this company and what they're able to do, and I get so excited for my clients because it's just lit, man. But anyways, I'm actually I think that's it. I got my top 3 out. I'm gonna try and every time I go to a workshop, I'll do one of these videos. I'll update, give you a heads up on what's going on, and then also try and drop 3 gems so that there's content that's coming out. The next workshop is gonna be Dobbins. I'm gonna be there. So if you're thinking about going through the NACA program, give me a call. Let's talk. Let's do a buyer consultation. Let's meet up at a property or something like that. Get all your questions answered, and then I'll be more than happy to meet you down at Dobbins and just kind of chat and take it from there. All right. So with no further ado, my name is Ugo Opara, PA licensed real estate agent and investor, and overall 100% diehard NACA enthusiast. I say it right. Anyways, I'm a big fan of NACA. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time.